Alright, I think I fixed it. You guys hear me now? This should be good. My OBS is registering my voice, so how do I sound? Good? Volume levels are good? Sweet. How's everyone's holiday break? Was it good? Where should we start with this? Everyone had a good break. Sweet. All right, let's start with Bitcoin, and then we'll work our way down because I've identified a few trends which I think are going to be a little bit more obvious if we understand what Bitcoin's doing right now. So we'll start with Bitcoin, and then we'll work our way down. Okay. So let's look at the. Excuse me, I still have a cough, man. So let's look at the 6-hour chart here for Bitcoin, because there's a pretty textbook pattern here. It's called a head and shoulders. Let me see if I can find my pen. I've been away from my desktop for a few days, so everything's kind of I don't want that. What the hell am I doing? I want my pen. I want this. I want you. I choose you, Pikachu. All right. So we have this guy right here. This is called a head and shoulders. Right? Head / shoulders. Right, so we got shoulders, head, shoulders, left, head, right, right? And what this is, it's typically a reversal pattern. So you see them all the time. This is the biggest one I've ever seen for crypto. So it'll be interesting to see if it plays out. But basically, the way head and shoulders works is you have the price go up and it goes down. Right, and then as it comes down, it tends to stop at a point. This is called the neckline. The neckline. It bounces up. It makes a head. Right, so it makes a high, a new high. Right, and then it bounces off the neckline again, and then it fails to make a new high right here. Right, where's the new high? Well, it failed. And so when it comes down to test the neckline, it forms a pattern, and as it breaks the neckline, the pattern starts to be. You start to have more confidence in the pattern. You can call it confirmation, whatever you want to call it. But as it breaks the neckline, which this one has a slanted neckline like this, so we got a little bit ways to go down to here. You know, you can argue it's like this, but I think this is the more conservative estimate, right? Like I don't think Bitcoin's just gonna like drop from here to go to here. It's got a lot of resistance in here, which I'll go into detail about. I'm sorry, a lot of support in here, which I'll go into detail about. But the way you calculate a price target for head and shoulders is, say you get the head and shoulders like this, right? You take the distance from the neckline. This is all a rough estimation, right? Take the distance from the neckline, measure it to the top of the head, and then so let's call this distance x. And then the price target's going to be the neckline, the distance of x down to the neckline. And so it'll be, you know, neckline, neckline, neck, minus x equals price target. Okay, so in our instance, we can take a couple different ways to take this, because like I said, you can draw the neckline here, you can draw it here. I'll take the conservative estimate, which is here. So let's call this price, current price 13.7, so 13,700, let's say 13.7. Okay, which is this guy, and then the top, which is about 20K, right? So 20K minus 13.7, it's going to be 6.3K. So down. This is a downward move of 6.3K. Okay, so if we take this projection from here, going down, it'd be what? You know, 13.7 minus 6K, so it'd be 13.7 minus 6.3, which is 4, and then 7.4. Right? Did I do that right? Yeah. So it'll be 7.4K down in here, which is very funny because that's the linear trend line bottom down in here. So let me clear this off. So we got some interesting stuff to play out. This hasn't been confirmed yet, so no need to freak out yet. But it's something that definitely should be you should keep an eye on, because it's looks pretty fucking standard, and the consequences of this moving down is pretty crazy, right? And as we move in on like a lower time frame, as we look at the 120 minute view, the 2 hour view, you know, this distribution pattern that I've been talking about for a few weeks now, almost a month, no, a couple weeks, starts to make more sense, right? Distribution patterns, so head and shoulders is a distribution pattern, is a form of a distribution pattern. So although I have all these crazy markings on here like this, right? Like I have, if you've been, the hell is that? Although I have all these crazy markings on here, like the PSY, all this stuff right here, all you really need to know is that this is making a distribution pattern in the form of a head and shoulders here. So I've got all this other shit in here, but at the end of the day, it's just, this is just a fancy form of identifying the head and shoulders and increasing the confidence with it. So at the moment, it's looking like a head and shoulders here, right? So what does that mean? That means that Bitcoin is potentially at the top of its market cycle. So if you're familiar with market cycles, right, you have a bottom, you have a top, you have a bottom, you have a top, right? This would be accumulation, markup to distribution, markdown to accumulation, and so on and so forth, right? And Bitcoin's done this a few times in the past, so it's nothing like this super alien to it. So if we look at the 1 day chart, for example, you know, like we've seen this tons of times before. We've seen it here, we've seen it here. So it goes up, it marks down, it goes up, it marks down, it goes up. And right now we're at a really high point, so it's looking like this might be the top of our current market cycle. So, so what does that mean? That means that the big players, the institutional investors, are starting to distribute their shares of Bitcoin, their coins, right? And they're distributing them to the public so that they can take their capital and move it elsewhere. So where's that capital going? A lot of it's going to the alts, and I'll show you an argument here in a second, but we'll answer some questions before we go to that. Let's see some questions here. Head and shoulders bad for the whole market or just Bitcoin? A couple of us hoping cash will flow into alts. Okay. Percentage of time head and shoulders works. Enough that you should keep an eye on it. How much time do we have before the anticipated dip? I don't know. Like, you don't think about it in terms of time. Think about it in terms of price objectives. Don't time the market. Have checkpoints that the market goes to, right? And those are gonna be price checkpoints. Can you look at fun Bitcoin? No, we're gonna keep looking here first. Bitcoin market cap less than 50%, total alt market cap. Okay, aren't we at Elliott wave? I don't know. I don't study Elliott wave stuff. I would like to start by making an offering to the CO, or to, yeah, the reptilian overlord, the composite operator. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that a lot of the capital is leaving Bitcoin, or it looks that way anyway, and likely going to the other coins. So I've identified a few coins in the past that I believe are going to be really good candidates in the event of Bitcoin pulling down. I think the capital is going to go there. And so let's take a look at some of the Bitcoin pairs. Excuse me. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin Cash first. So Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash has had its ups and downs. Let's get rid of this. And keep in mind, this is the Bitcoin Cash ratio. So what does that mean? That means this is the measure of the capital going from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash and vice versa, right? So the way we can identify whether or not Bitcoin Cash is going to perform well is we see this nice trading range here, which we can call reaccumulation. And this is the beginning of the reaccumulation, right? So we saw reaccumulation here. Let's get black. Let's get black in our lives. So we saw reaccumulation here. It broke out, did a little markup, and now it's doing a reaccumulation here. And we can tell it's reaccumulation because there were some textbook market responses to this. One of which is this creek right here. This is called the creek. This sort of price activity as the price meanders downward, right? We see it meandering downward right here. And as the price is going down, the volume's kind of going down too. And now we're kind of hitting the bottom of the trading range here. And you can see buy volume is starting to pick up here as we near the bottom of this trading range. So people with Bitcoin are starting to use their Bitcoin to accumulate Bitcoin Cash right in here in anticipation for a future markup phase. And we're starting to see a lot of these. So we see one on Bitcoin Cash. We see one on XRP is another one. It's starting to break out right now. So if we look at the, this is a reaccumulation trading range right here. So we see here's Bitcoin, or I'm sorry, here's XRP's creek, and then we see this large injection of volume here, right in here, and it's starting to mark up. And one classic characteristic of the reaccumulation is that, so it finds its bottom, right? It finds its bottom on relatively low volume down here compared to the rest, right? So it finds its bottom at the bottom of the trading range. And as it marks up, it goes to this creek jump. So it jumps this creek. Then it retraces to here. It jumps the creek, it retraces, but it never makes a new low, right? So overall, this thing's going up and it's not going lower. So we can tell that it's in the markup phase. And right now, this is called a sign of strength, right in here. It's kind of making this little like pennant thing as it consolidates in volume and price. And so XRP BTC is gearing up for its next markup phase. Now, keep in mind, that shouldn't be mistaken for a market phase in USD, although that could translate to it. So just because the BTC pair is in markup doesn't mean that you're going to see USD pairs skyrocketing with the BTC pairs. That's not what that means. All that means is that if Bitcoin pulls down, XRP is not going to pull down as much, or it stays flat, or as it pulls down, the XRP goes up. So there's a couple of different ways this could translate to the USD pair. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So the XRP is a good one. OMG is surprisingly a good one. OMG has just been getting its ass beaten relentlessly for the past few months, but I believe it's finally in markup, or it's about to be in markup. So we see here the same sort of story, right? So this is reaccumulation, right? This whole thing is reaccumulation, and we see here's the creek, right? See the creek jump, it jumps, and you can see here it's never making an, with the exception of this guy, ignore this, right? With the exception of this weird little boner here, it never really makes a new low, and thus we're beginning the markup, the intro to the markup phase, and here we're seeing a major sign of strength, and in this case it's in the form of a bull pennant here, and you can see it's accumulating on top of the trading range, which means it's ready for markup. This is the USD pair, okay, and I'm going to show you it's the same story on the BTC pair as well. So keep in mind, this is the USD pair here. So USD pair looks ready to go. It looks like it's ready to break out of this pennant, and the price target for this pennant is pretty big. It's I think this is $8 or so. This is 22. So it's gonna be like a it's gonna be like a $14 pull, which means if this breaks out, we can expect to see 28 bucks for OMG. Like 28 bucks or so, 28 to 30 bucks for OMG here. Okay, and let's look at the BTC pair as well, because it further substantiates this argument. So where is it? Is it here? OMG BTC. Yeah. So let's look here. So let's look at the first. Let's zoom out so we can see what we're dealing with here. So we see here since the beginning of September. So keep in mind, this is when the OMG USD pair began. It began reaccumulation, which led to a markdown in the BTC pair, and now it's found its bottom here, right in here, and this is what we like to call accumulation. So it's not reaccumulation. This is accumulation down here because it went to a markdown, and now it accumulated, and now we're seeing a major sign of strength here. So this is major SOS, and now the BTC pair is ready for its markup. You know, as soon as it breaks a new high, I would expect to see some aggressive buying on the BTC pair here. And it's the same story on NEO right now. So if we zoom out, what is this? Is this, where's my NEO chart? I gotta find it. That's XRP. Is this NEO? Here's NEO. Okay, so same story on NEO here. So so the USD pair isn't showing reaccumulation, but what it is showing is it's showing a nice bull pennant right here. So we see this nice bull pennant, which is what is this? This is a 30 bucks. This is, let's say, 83. So $53 pull from start to finish, which means we could see a breakout. You know, let's say 70 bucks, 70 plus 53. You know, over 100 bucks, over $110 for NEO USD here. And and if we look at its BTC pair, we're going to see the same thing. It's crazy, right? NEO BTC. So just like OMG did, we saw. Let's look at the 120-minute view. So just like OMG did, it had a looks like damn near identical to OMG here. So we saw the top of the market cycle here. We began the markdown phase. We found the bottom, and now this is accumulation. Here, right? So here's the accumulation trading range, and here it began its markup, and now we're seeing major sign of strength here, and it's about to go into another markup campaign. So there's a lot of coins doing this, right? And it looks very promising if you're an altcoin trader, because that means a lot of capital is taking interest from the Bitcoin pairs into the altcoin pairs. And right now they're getting the shit beaten out of them, but that's intentional. It's supposed to shake people out of their positions. It's you know, what we like to call the composite operator. And this just goes over and over and over. There's a lot of these coins doing this, a ton of them. EOS, another one. So if we look at the 240-minute view, right? If we look here, this one had began its market phase a little sooner. So we saw the top of its market cycle, it marked down. Here's the accumulation trading range. Here was its major sign of strength. So this is the equivalent of this is the exact same thing that NEO, OMG, what did we say? XRP was one of them. They're doing the exact same thing. So they broke out of their trading ranges. Now they're making these big ass fucking pennants, and they're just gonna go. They're gonna go on a rampage. They're gonna mark up. I don't have any question about it. Like that, they're gonna mark up, and we're gonna see some significant price growth for those coins. EOS is one of them. Oops. EOS is one of them. It's already begun its campaign, and it's currently still marking up. Like it's not done. So we see right here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So we see here that EOS could be a pretty solid buy here. We don't know. You know, this could be the top because it kind of looks like a little head and shoulders, doesn't it? So maybe EOS is at the top of its market cycle right now. I need to look at this further. But right here, here's a nice little trend line for EOS. I need to look at EOS further. I didn't notice this head and shoulders when I was looking at it earlier. Interesting. Okay. I need to reevaluate my EOS position here. Because it's at a pretty crucial point right here. Because if it breaks down from here, this could lead to markdown. Okay. So I need to keep an eye on EOS. And what else? Some of you guys want to see Ether, of course. Here's Ether. So good news for all you tie-dye pony shirt wearing Ether fans. Ether has a similar story to a lot of these other coins, right? So let's do it like right here. So Ether, this is the Ether Bitcoin ratio. Okay, so it reached the top of its market cycle back in June, and it's been going through markdown, and now it's found its bottom here. And now it's going through, this is accumulation here. Accumulation for this trading range right here. So we see the spring, we see an aggressive move up, and we see the telltale signs here that it's going to begin its markup because we don't see any new lows, and it's just below the trading range. So I would expect to see a breakout of this trading range. You know, when that happens, who knows? But I would expect to see a breakout of this trading range when it does, and see a sign of strength here before it begins its major markup campaign for Ether Bitcoin. Oh yeah, some of you guys want to see Litecoin. We can look at Litecoin. What is this? Let's do LTC. Oh, let's do Bitcoin. Litecoin. LTC, BTC. So I'm kind of torn on how to view Litecoin at the moment, because it has a lot of signs of reaccumulation here on the Litecoin Bitcoin market, and I'll walk you through that here. So you know, we see a buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary test. You can call this a secondary test, and now this is gonna be the spring. It's called a spring. And here's the creek, and here's the jump across the creek right here. And this would be called a sign of strength. As it consolidates below the trading range, this would be the whole trading range here. And you can see that the volume's starting to consolidate here. And if we zoom in a little closer, maybe the 120-minute view, we see sometimes you see trading ranges nested inside of trading ranges, which is kind of neat. But right now we see what you can argue to be is a reaccumulation phase nested inside the previous trading range, the larger trading range. So this would be reaccumulation. We see buying climax, automatic reaction, and yeah, it's a little sketchy, to be honest with you. But you can argue reaccumulation here. Like this would be a creek. You can see here the volume's not really consolidating there, is it? The volume's actually kind of growing down here, which is interesting. I'll have to reevaluate this. I haven't looked at a Litecoin chart in a while. But the macro looks like a reaccumulation phase, so I'll have to restudy Litecoin. What else? What is this? Oh, Ethereum Classic. Sure. Let's look at Ethereum Classic here. So Ethereum Classic, I actually had pretty high hopes for Ethereum Classic, but it's kind of breaking my heart at the moment. Ethereum Classic actually looks like distribution here. So I initially thought it was going to be accumulation, but it looks a lot like distribution now. Because we see, so we can, let's go ahead and look through this a little bit, and we'll parse through it together. So Ethereum Classic, where's the larger time scale? Yeah, so I initially thought that Ethereum Classic looked like accumulation, reaccumulation phase, but it actually looks like distribution, doesn't it? So disregard these markings here. I need to update them. But what it looks like is we see the buying climax, the automatic reaction. Okay, these are all good. This would not be a sign of strength here. This looks more like an upthrust here, a UT. And then we see a major sign of weakness here, right in here. And this would be last point of supply. Last point of supply. Interesting. Okay. So I also need to mark this and update my view on this. So this is, disregard that. All this other stuff is okay. You could argue this is a sign of weakness here, because it's testing the bottom portion of the trading range. But overall, you can see here, like this is one key that you can argue that it's distribution here. So if we draw like a channel here for supply and demand, something like that, right? So we see this looks just like the Bitcoin chart actually. So we see an overthrow. It overthrows the demand line. It comes back. It tests the supply line. We see here, and then it breaks it. So it actually broke its markup phase here, and this looks a lot like distribution. Okay, so I need to go ahead and probably get rid of my Ethereum Classic here that I've been holding, because it looks pretty fucking weak here. So this actually looks like distribution. Okay, so we got, what else did we say? We said EOS might be distribution, ETC might be distribution. So let's make a little list right here. Distribution. Accumulation though. Accumulation, we had XRP, Bcash, OMG, NEO, Ether. What were the other ones? I feel like I said one more. Anyway, there's a few of these coins that are looking pretty ripe right now. These don't look very good at the moment. I need to reevaluate EOS, but ETC looks like distribution pretty clearly. Let's look at the BTC pair here, and let's get a better look at it. BTC, BTC. Okay, how are we looking here? So, okay. I guess I started labeling this a while ago. I haven't looked at this in a while. So the BTC pair actually looks like it might be at the bottom of its market cycle. So this is interesting. But it's, I mean, you can be in reaccumulation for a long time. Because keep in mind, these are 12-hour candles. So this could, I mean, this could easily make a new low here, make a spring, you know, and then come up for its markup phase. So I think Ethereum Classic actually kind of looks pretty weak right now, the USD pair and the BTC pair. So you might want to stay away from Ethereum Classic if you're looking to go long, because it doesn't look very good. Like, I would totally expect to see a little creek go down here. It meanders, the volume consolidates, we shoot down for a spring, comes back up, you know, and does that whole little deal we saw 1,000 fucking times before. So some people from the Discord are requesting Qutum. Let me find a chart that I don't mind. What is this? BCH, BTC, XRP. We can do it here. So Qutum. Let's get the BTC pair. Okay, so Qutum. Okay, on a macro level, that's probably too far out. Okay, so on a macro level, Qutum is seen. So this is the BTC pair. On a macro level, we saw a trading range here. This was accumulation down here. So it's beginning its markup here. This could be reaccumulation. We'll have to zoom in. Let's take a look at it. So 16 minutes. Okay, so we see a pretty well-defined trading range here. We'll draw a line here. We'll draw a line here. God, this volume is so choppy. It's like very inconsistent. I wonder if this is actually the better way to draw it. Like that. And this would be a secondary test. So, okay. So the problem with these low market cap coins is like the volume doesn't trend very well and it's very spiky. Like if you ever look at sentiment volume trend looks like just dog shit. It just looks so bad. I don't know how to read Qutum. I gotta study this more. Qutum looks like it's being manipulated. Dude, every coin's manipulated. Every market is manipulated. It's all manipulated. The key is just being able to read how it's being manipulated. That's how you make money. Is it too soon to call it another accumulation phase? too soon for me. So here's the. Okay, so here are some things that stick out to me that make me think it might not be accumulation. So we see the volume going down on this dip outside the trading range, and the volume's actually going up. And as it rallies out of here, the volume actually goes down, and it kind of consolidates here. Same story here. But then the volume changes here. As it goes down, you can see it kind of decreasing here. Okay, so we see volume picking up here on the rise. You could argue this is a jump across the creek. This would be the creek here. So now we got an upper creek here. Here's your BUEC here. It's just these large outliers that are sketchy here. This is interesting. Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on Qutum. I'm not sold either way on it. I'm inclined just to lean a reaccumulation because it's in an uptrend. You see a very well-confined supply and demand. Something like that. But Qutum I got to keep an eye on. I need to study that more. So someone from the Discord is requesting LTC USD. Let's look at that. So here's the problem with LTC USD is that it tracks whatever Bitcoin does, because it's, you know, like a little Bitcoin ripoff, but it tracks it. It always tracks it. So I have a feeling that whatever Bitcoin does, Litecoin's going to do the same thing. This is slightly concerning here. This guy. The fact that it's pushing new lows here. How do the Bollinger Bands look here? Yeah, the problem with Litecoin is that it tracks too closely with Bitcoin. And so it's like seeing the exact same trend that Bitcoin's seeing here. So in order, like, I think it'd be really crazy to see price divergence between Litecoin and Bitcoin, but I guess anything's possible. But I mean, it looks like the same distribution that Bitcoin's seeing. All right. So let's see. You guys want to see 8x? What the fuck is that even? All right, so 8x, same story. So 8x, let's do 6-hour candles and get rid of the Bollinger Bands. So 8x is doing the same thing that a lot of the other coins are doing. So we see it hit the top of its market cycle and marked down. We see a trading range here, more like that. Accumulation, now it's doing its markup phase right now. You know, you see it here. No new lows, new highs. 8x looks pretty solid. It could be a solid play for a little bit. This is the 8x Bitcoin, so it could see a pretty nice markup. It just broke out like a couple of days ago, right? Somewhere around Christmas. So 8x could be pretty solid. Let's see. XRP, I already went over XRP, you just have to rewind it. Watching you on a 4K monitor, so charts looking crispy, my dude. Oh, awesome. It's a good thing my ugly mug isn't on the screen then. You'd see what I'm working with. Yeah, 8x looks pretty solid. 80x, I don't know why I keep saying 8x. Been playing PUBG too much. Anyway, I think that's probably good enough. Probably good enough for today. Oh, Siacoin, how could we forget? Of course. God damn it. Which one is it? Oh, stupid tricks. Siacoin, my golden pony. Been holding you since 0.79 cents. Bought it somewhere in there. So Siacoin looks... it's crushing it right now, right? Look at these gains. Did the same thing. It went down, had a reaccumulation or an accumulation phase, and now it's doing markup, and it's just going fucking ham. Look at this curve, and it looks solid. Is that making a bull pennant right now? Let's take a look. Why, yes, it is. It is making a bull pennant right here. Making a little pennant right here. Which is what? Like, what is the length of this pole? This thing? 0.014. So let's say 14237. My God. So 37. 37 minus 14. 3.03 gain? My God. Dear God. So if this thing breaks out, did I do that math right? Yeah. So this could see, fucking hell. Siacoin might be on ready for another breakout. Dude, Siacoin's going crazy. You're so crazy, Siacoin. USD. And the BTC pair looks also a solid. But for whatever reason, TradingView fucks that chart up. Like, whenever you put Siacoin, Bitcoin, I think it has a problem with the decimal places. Like, it just goes like, whoop, my brain doesn't work now. And it just, like, shits. But the volume's still there. Here's the reaccumulation phase. Damn, someone bought a fuck ton of Siacoin here. Look at that. With their Bitcoin. They were just like went all in on Bitcoin, or Siacoin with their Bitcoin. But the USD pair looks crazy. I've been seeing some nice returns on that, and I'm just going to hold it for a while too. Oh, it's log that screws it up. Interesting. That's good to know. Fun fact. Yeah, so there you go. It's seeing a major sign of strength here. It's breaking out of its trading range. Trading range is here. So Siacoin looks like it's about to begin its Bitcoin markup phase. Look at that. God. Siacoin is just looking so bullish right now. So bullish. Fucking hell. Anyway. That's probably good for today. But yeah, if you guys are interested in like tracking this stuff in real time, you know, I only stream like once a week because my attention span only allows for that much. But you know, I'm always in my trading community, where I, you know, openly discuss these ideas, and me and my group we trade them together and hopefully make some sick gains. But yeah, if you're interested in joining the trading community, you're more than welcome to join. It's at bitcoinschmittcoin.com. You know, just keep in mind, we're not a pump and dump group. So, you know, we're not going to like Wolf of Poloniex your ass and be like, hey, we all need to buy at this time and sell at this time. No, we're going to teach you real skills, so that you can identify these patterns on your own and learn to trust them. And hopefully diversify your portfolio and diversify your risk, so that you're not all in on one coin and then just eat a big fat loss whenever Bitcoin decides to shit its brains out. So yeah, go ahead and go to bitcoinschmittcoin.com. You can sign up there and join the community there. But as for today, that's all I got for you guys. Yeah, thanks. Bye.